Hey y'all. Oi oi. I okay, finally I can make this video because my other videos it was like I kept getting rejected on some other stuff like I wasn't following the guidelines. I don't know what the fucking guidelines are. I don't know that stuff. Like I'm still new at this. I know there's a better platform that I can be on, but I'm still learning all this stuff and I like to learn it on my own. So like I've always said that I want to bring history to the forefront. History is my calling. People have callings, and callings are your soul ties and your soul contracts to the God. Some people don't understand their soul ties, but I understand mine. And once you receive certain avenues to get to information that most people can't get to, then and you know that's what you want to do, that's your soul tie. And history is mine. And when I came across a lot of things in history, I've learned, I had to relearn a lot of things, and it was hard to understand because of what I was taught from like personally and through education. But then when certain people get into your life and they be like, hey, look at this and look at that, and they give you the keys to look at this and look at that, like i.e. You got primary and secondary resources, and it's very hard to have the key to primary resources. Your primary resources is like firsthand stuff, like written artifacts from that person, diaries, um, pictures at that time, um, treaties or declarations at that time. That's primary resources. Then you got secondary resources when people write about it and they're acclaimed and they write about it. So I had privy to a lot of this information due to my extensive interest in history, not for myself, but for the world. But when you digging in this realm, you want it to be more personal, and that's how I am. I'm real personal about it because history, what we know, is not what it claims to be. It's like a whole lot more. It's like a whole lot more to what's going on. And it's not fair that we're not privy to a lot of things. So a lot of people have a lot of questions about global resets and stuff. And they'd be like, Tima, what's a global reset? A global reset to a lot of conspirators is basically where the world starts over. And the world starts over and become a place or kingdom or region where they take on new practices, take on new way of life. So this type of life did not happen overnight. This type of life happened through time. So one of the things that I have said in my introductory video that I posted a couple weeks earlier was learning about exile royalty children who were kidnapped and brought to another land and eradicated from history. And I think it's very important to bring this to light. And I promise you guys that I will try to uncover as much royal history that I could uncover. I'm talking about the royal ears of the exile royalties. And one of them that I'm going to cover today is Prince Alemayehu of Ethiopia, of the Magdala Fortress. So in 18 around the year about 1868, there was a battle that happened in Magdala Right now, Magdala is known as Ethiopia. So there was a battle that happened, and the battle took place. I want to spare the war, but I gotta, I gotta highlight a lot of the war and what happened when the prince was kidnapped. So the war took place in about 1868, and the monarch at the time of the British Empire was Queen Victoria, and she ordered a hit out on the Magdala Fortress. And the Magdala Fortress is what we call Ethiopia today. The Magdala Fortress is very holy, especially for Christians. They're very holy because the Magdala Fortress has bloodlines of the Davidic bloodline. If you are a follower of Jesus Christ, they were the bloodline of Jesus Christ. And they were invaded by the British Empire, the British and the Indian Empire. And when they were taking over, this dealt with a lot of sophisticated military operation. It was a campaign that was going on, and it was a military operation where they claimed that the emperor of Ethiopia at the time, his name is Emperor Tewodros II, he kidnapped some mercenaries from Britain. But it's not the fact that he kidnapped mercenaries from Britain. And primary resources will tell this. If you look into the British Library, if you look into the Ethiopian Library, if you look into the archives, it will show that he tried his best to contact Queen Victoria to tell him that, hey, the Ottoman Empire is talking about invading me. And he needed help. He needed help with weaponry because at that time the British Empire had a weaponry called guns, and this is around 1861. So the British Empire had weaponry called guns, and an army full of mad people. So he called on the help of Queen Victoria, who's supposed to be a Christian counterpart, and said, hey, you're my Christian sister. Can you please help me? Because these Ottomans are out to get me. They're out to take over Africa. Poor thing, Emperor Tewodros had no idea that the monarch of England at that time, Queen Victoria, knew about all this that was going on. So she ignored his letters. And at that time in Ethiopia, I don't know about planes, I don't know how mail worked, but they, I don't know what messengers they had. I don't know how they did it, but the letter never got to her. And since the letter never got to her, she thought that Emperor Tewodros was holding English people captive. Primary Resources refutes this, that she goes to Ethiopia, Magdala at the time, and she goes to Magdala at the time to free the hostages because he held like 13 people hostages. Because according to colonial historiography, he didn't he held them hostage because they wasn't answering to his letters. But it's like we don't know what kind of truce Emperor Tewodros had with the British Empire. It's not fair to conclude anything because we don't know what kind of truce Emperor Tewodros had with Queen Victoria. Because according to his letters and primary resources dealing with archives of the British Empire, archives of the Ethiopian Empire, it states that he had constant contact with the Queen of England, who was damn near the queen of the world at the time. So When he didn't hear anything back from her, he started tripping. He started, everybody was paranoid because around the 19th century, and the 19th century meaning the 1800s to the 1900s, around the 19th century, it was a lot of backstabbing going on. A lot of backstabbing. A lot of y'all was bitch ass niggas in the 18 to 1900s. Y'all was. And y'all turned against people who meant right for the world. I'm not saying that Emperor Tewodros was probably one of them, because there was some things that I learned in history about it, but he wasn't with the rule that y'all brought forth that's still in effect today. So he went to her writing her a letter, and everything that I'm saying is hard to refute because it's backed up by primary evidence. And the primary evidence, as I told you before, is firsthand evidence, like written diaries, treaties, meetings, written hand accounts of meetings, videos of meetings. Like, it's there. So you can look it up yourself. Some of the information needs clearance, and thank God I was blessed with some of the clearance. So he wrote this letter to Queen Victoria stating that the Ottoman Empire is closing in, and that's when the scramble for Africa was going on. And so far, the leading empire was the Magdala Empire, even though he did what he did to reach to be the stronghold of the Magdala Empire. I'm not saying it was right, but he reached that pivotal point that he was the king of Ethiopia, which was the king of Africa. And he went to Queen Victoria asking her for help in weaponry, because that's when like the guns and stuff came about, and maneuvering. But he didn't hear nothing from her. He didn't hear nothing from her for a long time. And so, according to records, it seemed as though he wanted to do a tit for tat. I'm going to hold these people until I hear from you. And the monarchy of England at the time, Victoria, because I don't want to call her queen, I don't know if she purposely did this, because what's sad is primary resources show that she was in an intimate relationship with the Ottoman Empire head, even though she was a Christian follower or of Christian. She represented what we see as Christianity today. But she was dealing with the Ottoman Empire leader who followed the Muslim way of life at the time. And I don't know about how religion partake. That's another video that I can do. I can't do that right now. It's going to be too much. But she was messing with the Ottoman Empire, and whose child that she held in exile as well. That's another video. But after he went to her and he didn't hear nothing from her, she decided to hold a campaign, which is called the Abyssinian Campaign, Abyssinian campaign. And that was to take out the Magdala fortress. And when they did so, they came there, maybe the Magdala fortress. My numbers may be wrong because I don't have my notes with me. I'm doing this from the top of my dome. So the Magdala fortress, I'm just say with numbers. The numbers may be wrong, but the numbers are similar. The Magdala fortress had about maybe, I'll say about 7,000 people. But Queen Victoria came and they traveled from Great Britain to the Horn of Africa using elephants and all kinds of other crap. And the elephants come later. And they came to Debo, the Ethiopian emperor, Emperor Tewodros, and his queen, Empress Tirawuk Wube. They came to Debo them to say, hey, you got our missionaries. But that's not what it was about. If it was like that, stuff wouldn't have came out what it was going to be. So they came and they invaded the Magdala fortress, took all the relics, and these are relics from way before we know time. You know how they have BC and AD? BC is before Christ, AD is after Christ, and there's like certain relics like BC. I'm talking about ordinary people who don't really know about history. You got the ancient Egyptian periods, that's BC. AD, you have cathedrals and stuff, that's AD. These are stuff from before the BC era. These are stuff before, I already told you about my house. These are stuff before the BC era that they were taking stuff. And these are also looted stuff from when the king of Africa, Emperor Tewodros, where he invaded a lot of African colonies and took a lot of their royal relics. And he housed them all, like how we have museums today. He had his own museum back in the 1800s. And he held a lot of royal relics in that museum. And they took all that stuff. There are manuscripts there that illuminate. They illuminate. You don't even got to read them. They illuminate. They read themselves. That type of stuff. Manuscripts from Yoko Ono, the original Orthodox leader of the 12th century, the time of the samurais, the British Empire took. And when they took it, they said that Emperor Tewodros killed himself with a pistol gifted to him by the monarchy Victoria. There is no way he gonna kill himself with a gun, knowing damn well y'all have his son, his only heir who he loved dearly. But according to colonial records of the 19th century historiography says that Emperor Tewodros killed himself. And when he killed himself, before he killed himself, he said some bullshit to the extent that, take my son and I want him to go to the Ethiopian lands where he may have a better life. We all know that is cap. That is cap. So they kidnapped his son, Prince Alemayehu, and his empress, Empress Tirawuk Wube, who unfortunately passed on her way to Britain. How did she pass? I don't know. It's some records, primary records, where it comes from Sir Robert Napier, that the general at the time had a liking for Prince Alemayehu. And I don't know what that means. I don't even want to know what that means. It took me a lot because it's a lot of emotion ran through when I was trying to go through this, when they took this young prince. Keep in mind, the young prince was 8 years old at the time. 8. He was born in 1861. The Abyssinian campaign happened in 1868, so he just turned 8 at that time when that happened. And they said they had a liking towards Prince Alemayehu. So they kidnapped him. And Empress Tirawuk Wube fought to her last dying breath for them to not take her son. And they took him and killed her. She was dumped off somewhere and they killed her. She was brought to England. And Prince Alemayehu was brought to England. They buried Emperor Tewodros II and Empress Tirawakube in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. It was what is known as today. But Prince Alemayehu, unfortunately, was kidnapped and brought to the British Empire, where he lived his remaining days. And you can see in every picture, if you pull up his pictures, his name is Prince Alemayehu, Alemayehu, Prince Alemayehu. You bring up all his pictures, you're going to see all the sulking, depressed, sad, disdained pictures of him when he was brought to the British Empire. And this bitch, who was the monarch of England at the time, sat there and said that that was one of her godchildren that I was telling you about in the other video about this godchildren bullshit. So they brought him in there. There's no records of him playing. There's no records of him being an adolescence, like he's 10, 12 years old. There's no records of him going to school. They said that's what he did, but there's no actual pictures of him. There's nothing of him. Next thing you know, all of a sudden, when he kept asking about his stronghold, his dominion, the Ethiopian fortress, all of a sudden he mysteriously dies. He gets killed. They don't bring him back to Ethiopia. They bury him in Windsor Castle, the same castle where the Queen of England is buried today. Ethiopia is still asking for his remains to come back, and the British Empire refuses to give him back. Why? That's like, why? Like, why not? Like, you already killed his father, the king. You killed his mother, the queen. Why did you kidnap him? Why didn't you kill him? Like, I'm not trying to say, hey, kill him. Like, I'm not with y'all bitch ass motherfuckers. Why would you just not kill him? Why did you take him? That's part of my eugenics clause for what they call the global reset, the world domination. For their bloodline to keep going, they were using bloodlines to inject themselves with bloodlines so they can keep going. It's a whole nother world that we're living in that we don't understand, that people are, history is not what we think it is. Prince Alemayehu, him in the golden picture. Prince Alemayehu is a whole different genre. He embodies the global reset and what really happened, what really went on. What really went on. There's so much about history that has to be unpacked that if the Lord is my will and I'm the will of the Lord, I'm going to unpack it because there's so much. And he's just one of them. He's just one of them. Even from the records of them saying that they enjoyed him. I don't know what that means, but that shit sounds weird. That shit sounds weird. They ain't enjoy his mother. They killed off his father because he was too strong. But they enjoyed that little boy and brought him over to England. And if you was to see his face in all those pictures that I would try to post along with this video, you would see that whatever happened to him was beyond human. And he's just one of them. I probably have about 8 of them left. It's probably more because I'm still researching, but solid 8 that I did historical backgrounds on. Yeah. Definitely. Please look into your history for Prince Alemayehu. Please help Ethiopia with their constant request to have him returned back to Ethiopia. There should be no reason why he is buried in Windsor Castle. There should be no reason. They keep stating that in order to exhume him, they have to disturb the other members, but people has died before him and after him, and they have moved people who died before him and after him. So how the fuck you can't move him? What's the excuse? Now, when I come with the other 8 that I did historical background on, what will be the excuse then? Give them back, bruh. Take that crown off and give it back. Take that crown off and give it back. Like, y'all time is up. And I'm talking about to the monarchs, even the president of the United States, the sultans, the SARS, TSAR, prime ministers, the dictators. Oh, yeah, y'all time is up, because what y'all did around the 19th century is clear evidence of a global takeover. And y'all did it through eugenics. And it's not fair. It's not the fact that it's not fair. That's childish to say. If you were real emperors, empresses, sultans, tsars, monarchies, presidents, dictators, prime ministers, if y'all was really who y'all say y'all are, then say how you got your crown. And tell the truth. Then y'all be real leaders if we still follow y'all afterwards. But y'all can't do that, because y'all know full and well the way y'all got these crowns, y'all cheated y'all ass off. And y'all killed off a lot of these leaders, a lot of these royal leaders who brought original leadership. And I'm talking about, you want to know what God was like? You want to know how to govern yourselves? You want to know what true royalty was like? To own gold, to own land, to own life. They was doing that and then took it over. And now our textbooks in our high schools are off of 19th century historiography. Check it up yourself and see for yourself.